Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new, my name is Becca, and today we're going to be doing a little advice to my beginner self as a lash artist. Things that I wish I knew at the very beginning that I implemented it's just like a learning process, like trial and error and everything like that, and I look back now on things that I would implement currently to kind of gain that success as a beginner. So in no particular order, of course I got my iPad, wrote it all down, so I'll be looking down for this, but there's just some advice that I would give to myself as a beginner lash artist that, I was struggling at that time. I didn't have my craft down pat. I didn't have a lot of clients. You're still gaining a clientele and your skill and trying to find what works for you, technique and supplies. There's a lot that I kind of mainly show on this channel is, my opinion, because I've gone through things myself. Let's say like certain situations or trying new and different lash supplies, things like that. And I wish I had a video like this because I watched a lot of lash videos when I was a beginner, and they kind of tell you, don't do this or try this out, and there's always that kind of okay, I'm hearing one thing from one person, another from another, so it's just, I want to just have a source for beginner lash techs like yourself if you're watching or if you're an experienced one, and just kind of giving you advice because I know that I really looked for this when I was beginning and I needed support. I didn't have anyone in my area that I knew as a mentor, so kind of view this as like a virtual mentor when it comes to lash extensions or just makeup, beauty, everything under the sun with that. I want to focus this channel more on, helping others because I know that when I was a beginner lash tech, I definitely needed it. So let's get into this little list of kind of advice that I would give my younger self and kind of things that I would implement if I'm a beginner. So in no particular order, I kind of just wrote this down as I was thinking about it, but first things first is practice makes perfect. You are going to start off and your first lash set is going to look nothing like your 10th, your 20th lash set. And a lot of that is practicing, getting your timing, getting the position of it, making sure that you're getting it as full, making sure that it's applied correctly for the best retention. And that's all practice. You're never going to get it right off the bat. And I always say, it's best if you have a human model or a human person that you're doing your lash extensions on, because it's nice for application-wise when it comes to, if you're using a mannequin, the timing, it's great. You can practice with that, that's great, but more on a human. So if you have someone that you can practice on, they can spare a couple hours, then I would definitely practice on a person. I have my boyfriend, so he was like, yeah, go ahead and practice on me, and then you take it off afterwards. He's not going to be walking around like that. So definitely practicing, especially trying to do the position, the speed, the time, fullness, and everything. You definitely want to get that down pat, but as long as you're letting people know that you are a beginner or, you just got certified. So it's you want to make sure that you're setting the expectations up for whoever you're doing the service for. And you can do your free services on the models. You can do heavily discounted services for if you want to start taking clients. When I first started, I was charging, so right now, classics are $120, but when I started they were $40 and they were heavily discounted. You want to make sure if you're going to be doing that, you're compensated for your time. I thought $40 was great, but I also had to take into consideration, the supplies, but also my time. So if I was taking, my very first set was 4 hours. 4 hours $40. Like, that's not much for, you know, the supplies and your time and the pain on your body too. And that's another thing I'll probably talk about, but definitely making sure you're worth your time. I probably would maybe bump it up to 60, so it's half, or even like 70. It just depends, because in your area you also want to make sure that you're not charging the same price as a beginner of someone who has experience. So kind of just depending on your area. I can make a whole video about pricing, but definitely make sure you're compensated for your time, covers the supplies, and that it's your worth in a way. So you want to make sure that you are practicing anytime you can, not only when it comes to, of course, with classics, getting your time, your speed, the quality, the placement, everything. Let's say you want to do volume fans. That is definitely a lot of practice. I still struggle with that, so getting the different techniques, finding something that works for you. They do have like 3 techniques that we use for volume, handmade volume fans, so finding one of those methods that work best for you, and kind of seeing what, you know, fits with you. My next advice is to research when it comes to supplies. So when I first started, I used the brands that I learned when I was in my first lash course, and I was like, okay, let me just use what I'm familiar with, and it just was of a lower quality, and I personally didn't find the products to last as long. So what I did was I found a lot of YouTubers that do lash extension videos and kind of got their opinions. So of course, like, I started with Stacy Lash, Glad Lash. It was also, it transitioned into London Lash and Lashbox LA as you get like higher end. And I've settled on Paris Lash Academy. I have noticed that their glues give me great retention. Their quality of lashes are great. They are a smaller business, I want to say, but they have definitely expanded in the past few years. I think when I first used them, they were kind of smaller. They, you know, were doing everything in-house. Like, everything was, it was a little bit different than they are now. They're a lot more popular. They expanded into more supplies, into nails, into waxing and stuff like that. So they're a lot better with it now. I noticed with them they give great discounts. They have a good rewards program. They have great customer service. But when it came to other brands, they were charging so much for the same quality that I could get somewhere else, like on Amazon, or just like a out of overseas brand. So I found that this brand was of great quality. They had great reputation. I did like Liv Bay for a while. She's a lash artist herself, and I think she's based out in Vegas too, in Nevada. So it's definitely finding what works for you. I just found that Paris Lash Academy was the best quality. They also have the best customer service. Their reviews are great. And then just trying their products themselves. For a while, I want to say, use Lashbox LA as well. They are a very expensive brand, and I don't think it's worth it when you can get the same quality, even better, from Paris Lash Academy. Especially when you get like the bonder, the primer, all of those liquids, and the glue and stuff. It is reasonably priced. You can definitely make your money back, and it's great quality. So I definitely find that I like that the most, and you know, that might not work for you. You want to make sure that you're finding glues and products that work for, you know, your speed, and then also just in general, like, what works for you and you're comfortable with. Finding something that, you know, is more aligned with your brand. You know, I have a lot of people that do like sensitive glues, or they do more brands that maybe not have as many chemicals in them. Like, it just depends on what you're looking for. But definitely, I would say Paris Lash Academy hands down for me. I've used it for a while now and I've stuck with it. I like their lashes. I used to do their pre-made books or pre-made fan books. They're like literally a booklet and they have all the loose fans lined up on a piece of like double-sided tape and like it's in a booklet. And I really like that as a beginner because for me, handmade fans, you know, my whole body would ache and my hand would ache whenever I would try to do that. You have to have a lot of skill. I definitely can do that, but I just prefer to do pro-mades. And I can do another video on pro-mades. That's like another thing. Very controversial in the lash industry, but if you're doing pro-mades, pre-mades, handmades, those are 3 different things. And I definitely will do a video on that. Let me just make a little note because I want to make sure that I talk about those because definitely it's a very controversial thing in the industry, but I feel like when you do pro-mades, they still have great quality. You can customize them however you want. It is a little bit more expensive, but if you're willing to kind of adjust your prices accordingly and then also making sure that you're applying them correctly, that'll definitely be a much better option if you are a beginner. You don't have to go and, you know, wait to offer those services as a beginner. You want to get right into it. So I'll make sure to make a video, go out and wait and check that out when I do. And then the next thing was to ask for help. You have resources like this video here, on YouTube, TikTok, everyone's on social media now with lash extensions, but I find that watching a lot of YouTube videos and long form content really goes in and helps me and kind of figures out like troubleshooting issues or watching someone lash. Like it's nice to see someone else that's doing it, actively doing that, and you can get their advice and just see what they do. And I really found that watching videos was very helpful for me. I was a beginner, so I wanted to make sure that I was doing everything right, taking notes through it. And also Facebook groups. Facebook groups are super helpful. I follow a few different Facebook groups and you can really just look up lash extensions in Facebook and then you'll find groups. And then some brands will offer Facebook groups as well. Like Paris Lash Academy is Lash Queens. There's one from Live Bay and I totally forgot what it was, but if you look up lash extension tips and tricks, Lash Queens, Lash, I don't even know, but just look up the word lash and you'll find a Facebook group. Just find something with a whole bunch of followers and that posts like constantly, and you definitely can get some advice. That is really, really nice because you can just ask a question and you won't get any judgment from people. Just ask your question and you'll find lash artists that will provide those for you. So that's a lot quicker of a way to make sure that you are getting the content and kind of getting help when you need. So making sure you're active within those groups. And of course it's always nice to help other people out. So if you know a question or you know an answer to a question, go ahead and put that in the Facebook groups because I know that everyone's very helpful. And even like with sets and stuff, like you can post your sets, say like how proud you are of them or like what could I do differently. You know, it's a great community and I definitely would recommend that. Speaking of social media, is another piece of advice is to stay active on social media. That's how you gain your clientele, especially if it's not like super organically, like someone's walking by your salon or they just see your salon when you're there driving by. Social media is a great tool to reach a larger community, so you'll get people that'll drive to go see you or make a day out of it if they like your work. So making sure you're staying on social media by creating the content. So that means either doing lash content, like posting before and afters, infographics talking about like aftercare, or just in general lash things. Again, I can make another video about what type of lash content to post. Let me make a little note on that. As well as, you know, creating the content, you want to make sure you're posting the content. So making sure that you're posting at least 3 to 5 times a week, as much as you can, if you can. So I would probably do daily if you can. The most, that would be great. Just because if you're posting all the time, you know, the algorithm, like, it picks up on that and stuff. But as long as you can do at least 3 to 5 times a week, maybe like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or, you know, every other day. You could do twice a week, but the more you post, the more people are going to see your content, the more people are going to come and flock to your page, see your work, making sure you're adding those hashtags, locations, making sure you're having eye-catching content, or just the before and after, posting it on your story, on your feed, as a reel, whatever you can do. Just make sure you are doing that, because you're not just a lash artist, you're also a marketer, you're an accountant, you're like all these different things. You got to put a lot of hats on. So making sure you're setting aside time for that, and making sure you're taking pictures during your appointments. You want to make sure you're doing before and afters. Sometimes if they're okay with it, doing content of you doing the lash extensions, or even just of yourself, like talking about it, or infographics with like Canva. You want to make sure you're always on your game when it comes to social media in every aspect, as well as engaging in content. Making sure that you are liking everyone else's post, making sure that you're responding to your own post and like comments in there, responding to DMs, responding to, you know, the whole shebang. You want to make sure that you are very active on social media so the algorithm pushes your content and you're able to gain the clientele that you want. The next one is making sure to secure deposits and enforce cancellation fees. So when you have a deposit, for me at least, I did, it was $25 to book. It was non-refundable, but it went towards your service. If you canceled anytime before 24 hours, you would lose your deposit, and then we could rebook you later on. If it was like, oh, I just have to move it, you know, within the week or within the next week, I would keep it. You wouldn't have to repay that or anything. But when it came to cancellation fees, those were the ones that not only were you getting your deposit that you had forfeited, you also had to pay a fee to book again next time. So I don't remember what I charged, but if you canceled within that time, then, you know, you would need to pay this amount for next time. You could go another step and secure a card on file so that you would just charge the card with the cancellation fee. Let them know, hey, this was made within a 24-hour notice, blah, blah, blah. Then, you know, you would have that. It's kind of up to you and your discretion what's a good cancellation fee excuse. Of course, health, death, injury, like, you know, I'm not going to charge you for that. Like, it's out of your hands. But if it's like, oh, like I slept in late, you know, I'm charging you, you know. So it definitely is up to your discretion, but making sure that you're compensated for your time, especially with deposits. Especially if you're booking out like a 2-3 hour service and someone cancels the day of, or, you know, the day before, you could have booked someone within that time. And it's just not fair to you, especially no-shows. No-shows, I don't remember what I did before, but I know that I did. You know, you couldn't no-show on me. If you no-showed on me, you're blocked from booking again, and you can't book with me. So that is up to you. If you do maybe 2 no-shows, then you're blocked. One no-show, then you're blocked. It's up to your discretion. It's your business. You can do whatever you want. But someone who no-shows you and ghosts you and doesn't tell you why or what's going on doesn't respect you. They don't respect your time. They don't care. So why should you care and continue to feel like you need to book them again for another service? I don't even want to deal with that. I'm good. That's the nice thing. You can choose your clients when you have your own business. if someone's being disrespectful or they're always coming in and they're super hungover or whatever situation is happening, it's all up to you. You don't have to serve them. So definitely making sure that you are having clients that respect you and your time, and making sure that you're enforcing those deposits, cancellation fees, and your pricing and everything like that. Another thing, I know we're flip-flopping between different topics, but one thing is making sure to take care of your body, making sure that you are regularly stretching, doing the distance test with your eyes. Every 20 minutes, look 20 feet away, and then you just kind of like adjust your eyes again. And then making sure you're getting massages regularly, you're working out, you're doing your neck exercises, back exercises, whatever you need, because your body aches so much when you are a lash artist. And I had the weirdest neck for the longest time. I had to stop lashing for a little bit, scale back with my clients, because my neck literally was like this. Like this, your neck's supposed to be like this, mine was like that. And yeah, it was not very good. So I went to the chiropractor, and also my sister is a PTA, and so learning from what muscle exercises and stretches to do, as well as getting aligned with a chiropractor. For me, a chiropractor was good. I heard a chiropractor's not good, but like that worked for me. Chiropractor told me to, you're gonna see my double chin, you're gonna like push back and then hold it. Also, a lot of people will just hang their head off the bed. Hang your head off the bed, making sure that your shoulders are right at the edge of the bed, and then just like putting it back, and then doing that for 5 minutes a day. That really helped a lot. My neck is not like that. And it's not like that. It's not like that. It's kind of like this, but it's like better. But still, I would do anything for a great posture. I know I'm trying to like adjust and like be good, but your posture really fails when you're a lash artist. So make sure that you're taking care of your body, taking rest. I would do like 5 lash clients a day, and you know, that may not be the best for everyone, so making sure that you're filling your time appropriately. So if you think that 5 consistently back to back is not the best for you, or if it is, go ahead and do it, but maybe 3 or 2, you know, you don't want to put too much stress on your body, because you're going to pay for it later on when you're old, and I don't want to be limping or like a little hunchback when I'm old. So I'm just gonna keep working on my posture and whatever I can do to make it, you know, healthy, and just in general overall health, because you're sitting all day too. You're not moving around. Making sure you're going to the gym, making sure you're eating healthy, making sure you're just being active, because that's not what I did. And your girl gained a lot of weight. So it definitely making sure you're putting your health first, and also wearing a mask when you're lashing. That is something that I am always going to be doing, because everyone's like, oh, you're fine, I don't have COVID, blah, blah, blah. No. That's not what I was talking about. The fumes from the lash glue, you're in it all the time. So making sure that you're masked so that it kind of helps with the fumes. That helps me, because my nose runs, and it's significantly better when I have a mask on, and I have a fume absorber, so that helps as well. So making sure that you're taking care of yourself, because there's a lot of things with lashing that you need to be careful. Carpal tunnel, making sure that you're doing hand exercises all the time. There's a lot of things. I can do another video about that as well. I'll write that down for you guys. And lastly, the last piece of advice that I would recommend and give to my beginner lash self is to build great relationships with your clients. You want to make sure that you are engaged in conversation, not fully engaged. You can have a quiet service. I'm not saying you have to be always talking, but when you are having these conversations, making sure you're interested and engaged, you are adding these to your notes. So if you have a booking service, usually you're allowed to put notes in there. So of course you write down like what mapping they got, lash curl, lash style, everything. And then do little notes. Do like, oh, she has 2 daughters, she works at this bank, she's going to see her cousins this weekend. Just so when you see them next time, you can kind of bring that up. Like, oh, how was your cousin adventure? Like, how was hanging out with your cousins? If she's going on this vacation, like say, how was your vacation? How are your daughters? Like, how's work going? And like, you want to keep adding that every single time when you're doing our service, so you're engaged, you're building a connection. It's like you remember even though you didn't. Like, you're looking at the notes. So making sure you're building that, and then that helps you in a way because you're building that relationship, that trust. Tips, referrals, all of that is beneficial for you. So making sure that you are building that relationship with clients and that they come back to you. They're your walking billboard. So if they have a great relationship with you, they love you, they love your work, then every time someone sees their lashes, they're gonna be like, oh, where'd you get your lashes? I'm like, oh, my lash girl's the best. Like, she does all these things for me. Speaking of that, having great discounts. You don't have to have a sale every month or every couple months. Having great discounts for people that refer you, people that are constantly coming in, as well as surprising and delighting them. Let's say it's their birthday and you give them a free little gift card. Or what I used to do was I would always think about my clients that were, ride or die. They see them every couple weeks for a fill, or not even just that. I also did waxing and I did makeup. So someone that would come in like very consistently, I make sure to make them feel included. Like if I'm doing a Starbucks run, I'll be like, hey, I'm running a Starbucks. Did you want anything? Or I have extra product. I have samples. Do you want some? Like making sure they feel loved as well, because it's a two-way street with that. Like, you're providing a service, but they can also help you with referrals and just getting your name out there. And that's really the whole point of it too, is you're trying to build your business and gain a reputation out there. And if everyone loves you, they love your work, then they're going to keep coming to you. They're going to refer their friends, their family, anyone that's walking on the street that asks them about their lash extensions, or just any service in general. Like, just making sure that you're building a great relationship with your client and making sure that you are building the best experience. So one of these things is what I would do is, if you were a first-time client getting a full set and it was going to be a hybrid or a volume, I would provide lash kits for my clients. So then they would see that and like, oh my God, I love this. And so they would come back again. They knew that they were going to get great service. They knew exactly what to wash their lashes with, what brush to use, extra spoolies, and a cute little bag. Having that surprise and delight for the client that they weren't even expecting, that's great. And it doesn't have to be over the top too. You can also maybe just do like a really small lash shampoo, or you can just do cute little spoolies with cards, referral cards, discounts, stuff like that. Whatever you want to do, you really don't have to do that. And that's another idea. I'm going to talk about lash aftercare kits in another video. I'm just getting all these ideas when I'm doing this. Yeah, so that was all the tips that I have for myself as a beginner lash tech. I definitely learned along the way, and it was a very long process. And I promise that, everything is going to come with time. You're going to learn your lessons, and I'm just here to help you kind of bypass that, so you're not going through the trial and error of having to do everything all over again, or try new things, or, regret things later on. So I'm just trying to help you guys in any way I can. If you have any other lash content ideas, go ahead and let me know down below. I did get a lot of lash content videos as I was talking today, so be sure to watch out for those videos. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.